Well, you guys touched on it there to close our number one. The big news of the day in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys got themselves a new offensive weapon. Mercurial Steelers wide receiver George Pickens traded to Dallas for a third-round pick.
I remember Madonna had a number one hit with that, the Mercurial girl, right?
Yes.
The Mercurial girl.
So
You can't believe I got that, did you?
I could not believe that.
That's off the top of my head.
No, we would have been, if it was in 97, not 87, we would have been horse shot.
So Dak's coming back. CeeDee's there as the number one, and George Pickens the new number 2 in Dallas.
Are you moved? Did that move it for you?
Did
it move you?
It did.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. A couple of reasons. I think what it was, first of all, they have not been moving the last couple of summers. We talked about it. They've been slow-footing things, the Cowboys, right? They hold on to CeeDee Lamb. They wait, then they pay him, and then they couldn't get other guys. They wait. They don't get Derrick Henry, so now they got to spin the block like an old girlfriend and go get Ezekiel Elliott. So to me, they're showing me something. They're trying to go get some punch, get some offense, because to me, they realize a couple of things. One, they're looking at the division, Rob, and they're saying, we got to keep up with Jaden Daniels and what they're doing over there in D.C. with the Commanders. That's a lot to deal with. And then, obviously, the reigning champs who just left the White House not too long ago, the Eagles. That is a whole bunch to deal with as well. So we got to compete with that. We have to keep up. And when we were at our best was when we had Dak Prescott, who was thriving offensively to the tune of being an MVP candidate and had his best season. So I think they've realized we have to have more punch. If you saw their offense last year, it was CeeDee heavy. If he wasn't going, there wasn't nothing going. And that gets hard when everybody knows the only real threat you have is CeeDee Lamb. And CeeDee now can be versatile. He can play in the slot. He can play on the outside. You can have some other plays for him. And now you have Pickens, who really is a number one on most teams, but now will probably be a number 2. So to me, I like that them shoring up this side of the ball, saying also, last point, a lot of their defensive guys were hurt last year. So maybe they're banking on saying, hey, we weren't as bad defensively as we thought we were because we had a lot of guys injured. 3 of our stars were injured. They'll be back. They'll be ready. Micah's ready. He's probably just finishing the podcast somewhere. And now we got some offense to really start this thing up and be able to compete against our own division, let alone the rest of the NFC. Because the NFC is tough now. The NFC is going to be really tough. And so they got to compete with their own division, the NFC, and I think they want to shore up as much offense and weaponry for Dak.
Yeah, it didn't move me at all unless they fixed the defense, which was 31st last year. And before he got hurt, he was in those games. Micah played in that game against Green Bay. They had their full defense. They got throttled. Then look at their first 3 or 4 home games, when they started last season. Awful. And I get it. Some of the guys got hurt. But they weren't hurt the entire year. Neither was Micah. And they were bad. And offensively, the last 3 years when Dak was healthy, they were 1st, 4th, and 1st. So offense hasn't been the issue on why they haven't gotten it. If you want to stockpile, that's fine. But without getting defense to stop those other teams you're talking about, to me, it's a moot point. Like you're still going to wind up losing, and that's why Kansas City ran into a buzzsaw. Why? Because their defense, Philadelphia, was able to stop the quarterback, to get to the quarterback, right?
Yes.
That's what you need defensively to be able to counter that, is get at other people and stop them because they have dynamic offenses. I'm not against Pickens going there, but I didn't go, oh, yeah, the Cowboys got it figured out. This, to me, feels like typical Jerry Jones, who was bragging for the last couple of weeks. Oh, wait till you see. We got something coming. Oh, yeah, just wait. Dude, we've been hearing that. They've been spending money on offensive players for years, okay? And their defense was good. I told you, 31 last year, 31st last year, but 5th the other 2 years. And we know that. But Dak has already shown.
But that's why, no, you're right, but that's why I believe they want to get back to that. Hey, when we have Dak and he has the ability to have offense, the offensive line is great, he has weapons, then we can say we're going to be putting up 30, 35 points a game, and we can be that high of a caliber offense. And I strongly believe they don't think their defense is as bad as it showed. They got better towards the end of the season. Guys start coming back. And I think they believe if our defense gets back to what it should be, and even if it's not 5th, but it's 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th, okay. We're right around there, the first third of the league in defense. Maybe we're not the best, but then in offense, we are a top tier, top 2, 3, 4 offense. Then they're competing. And I think that's what they're trying to do is have an ability to score, have an ability to not just be so CD reliant. That's all they literally, teams are lining up. We stop him, we're good.
Yeah, but in games that Micah played last year, you ready? Talking about they gave up 44 to the Saints, 28 to the Ravens, 34 to the Eagles, 34 to the Texans, 27 to the Bengals, and 41 to the Eagles. Like those are the games that he played in. Like you could sit there and say, oh, well, no, these are the games he actually played.
But they missed. Marcus Lawrence was out. They had a bunch of people that were out. 3 or 4 they missed. Was it Diggs?
Were they all out for the playoff game, too, at home against Green Bay? Everybody was out, too?
Wow, why do you make me go? Another year before.
Yeah, no, but I'm asking. That was the same defense.
Oh, do not think I'm saying they're Super Bowl champs. I'm not. I don't want to sit up here like I'm caping for the Cowboys. What I'm saying is I just think the move for them was like, hey, if we can go get a guy, we got to give up some, a few picks, but we can get a number 1 receiver, caliber receiver who's still young, and we can now pair him with a legit number 1 receiver.
Okay, so did they win the division by doing this?
No,
move?
they take a lot to. I mean, it's gonna take a lot to beat the Eagles.
No, I'm asking.
No, the Eagles got this thing on lock for a minute. They're too strong on both sides of the lines, man. Defense, offensive line,
ridiculous.
They run the ball.
And that's
they're manhandling people.
People were not paying attention to that last year as we headed to the Super Bowl. I mean, I just looked at that team. Did I think it was going to be a blowout like that? No, but I didn't doubt. Did I ever doubt that they were going to beat Kansas City?
No. Them winning wasn't crazy. Them winning the way they won is what made that whole win crazy.
But not them winning, right?
And the Commanders, if you're the Cowboys, maybe you believe, maybe the Commanders, not that they're all of a sudden going to be a bad team, but maybe they're not as great as they were, and we can compete. But I'm just looking at it as them looking at the division saying, we got to do something. We got to make some moves because Jaden Daniels is ridiculously young and talented, so they've got their guy for years, right? We obviously the Eagles, Jalen Hurts looks like he's their guy for years with the Eagles. He's already been to 2 Super Bowls and has won one in a blowout fashion. So I think this is them trying to make moves to say we've got to compete in our own division before we can even compete with the Lions and the Packers and some of these the 49ers if they bounce back, the Rams and some of these other teams in the NFC. We got to worry about our own division, so we need to spruce things up. And maybe they'll make some more moves because they've been slow in making the moves the last couple of seasons.
Moves. The off seasons have been awful.
And they have, considering who they are. And I think this is them realizing if Jerry Jones is trying to win one before we might be singing "Meet Me at the Crossroads," then he's got to start making some moves, and they've finally done so because they've held on to guys too long. They wouldn't sign guys. They've held off to when they were going to pay him. We're not going to pay that. We're not going to pay that. We're not going to pay that. Okay, now we got to pay him $60 million versus if they just paid him when they should have, when they thought they wanted to, Rob. Well, now we're paying him 40, 45. Okay, it's good.
You're going to be your quarterback, then there's no reason to wait.
I almost said something I couldn't say. Slow foot around is what I'll call it, too.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, if he's your guy.
If you didn't think he was your quarterback, and I told Chris this a million times, I said they're not convinced. That's why they're waiting. It only costs you more money going for the longer you wait. The price doesn't go down. Are you waiting for him to have a terrible year and then sign him?
It doesn't even. Me too.
It makes no sense.
I was gonna say. So the only thing man, he's really good, but I just feel like, man, he's got to be better. Okay, now he's better, and the price went up, and now he's like, I wanted 48. Now I want 60.
Right, and
you're sitting there looking stupid.
Well, he was awful last year. Maybe you could get him for 29. Yeah, is that the guy you want to sign?
I thought he was awful. Is he awful? Then you don't want him. Well, we don't. We don't know. So yeah, Jerry Jones had needed to do something. What did Derrick Henry say? Man, I would love to go back to Texas and play in Texas.
He's
man,
from Texas.
I would just love to be back home. And Cowboys.
They said that they couldn't afford him,
and we couldn't afford him. Well, now look at him balling out of his mind, to the tune of being, one of the best seasons he's had ever with the Ravens. And now they've got a guy, a two-headed monster, and he and Lamar Jackson. So I think Jerry is behind. His own division is caught up. And now they're third at best. Who knows if the Giants do anything or not, but they're third at best as we sit here.
Well, the Giants might be better with Shador. Oh, wait a minute. They didn't draft him. I'm sorry.
They didn't draft Shador. That would have been too real. Shador, Jameis, and Russell.
I told you.
They would have had black student union meetings.
I told you before that. Didn't I tell you? What did I tell you?
Yeah, you said they don't normally sign no brother. I'm like, then to get 3?
No, but I was like, Shador didn't fit into that equation at all to me. I would have been shocked had the Giants.
You know that old joke. We don't mind if you like 1, 2, 3. I've been here. Get in here. They were trying to make up for their whole history signing a whole 3 of them in a row?
Yeah, but
I thought this was the Baltimore Ravens. Let me tell you who's going to sign some black quarterbacks. The Baltimore Ravens are going to keep 2 black quarterbacks on their roster. I don't give a damn. They're like, all right, we need another brother. Let me see. Who's available right now?
All right, I guess 877-99.
I think it was a move to try to bolster the offense, to get back to when Dak had all his weapons. He was at his best. He was an MVP candidate. They were competing to win the division, and I think this is a move that gets them towards that, with obviously more to be done if they're trying to beat the Eagles.
I'm not moved.